Hi Libra, welcome to your October 2017 General Tarot reading. It's Rena here. As you can see, I've already laid out the cards because there was something I said that was inaccurate, and it's easier to do it over again because I had just started it. Before I begin, if you're looking for a love reading for October, it's already on my channel, so you can check it out there. The overall theme in this general reading is the Emperor card. This card connects to the sign of Aries, which happens to be your opposite sign. Now, I was trying to say that there's going to be a full moon in Aries, and I said next month, but actually, I'm recording this in September, so next month is actually this month. If you're listening in October, it's on October 5th, a full moon in Aries, and at 12 degrees of Aries. And so it's your opposite sign, and the opposite house is the 7th house of marriage and related committed partnerships and just partnerships in general. That could be a timing issue about a personal relationship, that you find something out, that you end something. Actually, we have in the past position the Death card. So that speaks to that kind of a scenario. Now, if you're watching in September, this does not mean that this is going to come out of the blue. Chances are this is something that's you're already thinking about. And the other thing too, the Emperor can be like some sort of father figure. Again, this is the death is in the past, so usually the Death card does not relate to somebody, an actual person. If that was the case, that it was a person, it would probably be somebody that you already know has passed right at this moment. So because the Death card is in the past tense. So, you know, for instance, if you had a male relative, like a father, somebody that was kind of a leader, pass, you might be dealing with the aftermath of that. You might be dealing with an estate. You might be dealing with other family members, kind of regrouping. But the Emperor can also be this idea of control. And for Libra, it can be a situation where you have made a decision in the past, in the recent past, to go a totally different route and to take charge of your life. And again, that could point to a significant relationship where you gave away your power, something along those lines. So the Emperor could be a facet of you. The Emperor can be somebody who is like a judge, you know, so that court decision. Also, the Emperor can be a military man or a police officer. So that has to do with the Martian energy that Aries is associated with, and which deals with kind of soldiers and war situations. For the current period of time in October, we have the Queen of Wands. And it's interesting because I talked about the father and as the Emperor, and then this would be a mother energy or a female energy that is in a position of authority, like a boss. So it can be a situation where you have assumed a leadership position. This is connected to the fire element with wands. So it's funny, she's holding a sunflower, and you would think Leo, but supposedly it's connected to Sagittarius. And the other fire sign is Aries. But whatever this is, as a woman, this is a woman who is a lot more outgoing and happy-go-lucky. And even if she's in a position of authority, she is very generous with praise. She's not like a tyrannical type of a boss or anything like that. So it's almost like death to the old self, I think, for some of you, where you decide to shed an old skin and become more self-empowered. Now, interestingly, during the time when the sun was in Virgo, that's your 12th house, so that would be kind of like the old skin. And when you come into your solar return, you're starting that whole new solar cycle and letting go of the past. And perhaps some of you, it may not have even been something you knew astrologically was happening. It just was a natural outgrowth of other things that were happening in your life. And of course, during this time, we have the sign of the planet Jupiter going into the sign of Scorpio, and it has been in your sign for the last 12 months. So the death card is actually connected to Scorpio, and perhaps that is also timing issue. You know, so you have Jupiter going into Scorpio, and then you have the Emperor maybe representing the Aries full moon on the 5th, and these are both in the first half of October. So that might be some kind of situation where you get a promotion and you become somebody who is a supervisor or something like that. I mean, that's always a possibility. Yeah, because we have as the higher message the Chariot card, which is about a victory, and this is about having control. So this is a feeling of self-empowerment. And how this all comes about may be individual to some of you, but I'm thinking that it can be also that the Emperor is your superior, and he kind of was the one that maybe he saw in you something good to promote. For personal relationships, there could be an Aries person. Maybe you were with a Scorpio person in the past and now you're with an Aries person, or the Aries person is the one that the relationship is over with. The Chariot card as a spiritual message is talking about victory over conflict. In other words, that you were able to harness your power of attention and not allow yourself to get sidetracked. And this is what led to you succeeding, whether it's, you know, dog-eat-dog environment on the job, or whether it's in your personal life. But the Chariot card is a really, you know, positive card. And I would say as the spiritual message, it's an affirmation of what you've done, and maybe to really give yourself a pat on the back in a way. What crosses you is the Eight of Pentacles. This is a card of training and things like that. In the challenge position, it can indicate that you have to be very diligent, that you can't become lax, you know, lazy because you've, you know, made it to the top, and you have to keep working hard and paying attention to details. But in some cases, it can, I think it can even be trying to prove yourself too much. Feeling like, okay, now I've gotten here, now I have to really just constantly impress somebody. To me, that's a recipe for disaster, because whenever we're trying to impress people, prove things to others, there's something energetic there about feeling insecure, feeling not like whenever you have to prove yourself, it means that there's something that you feel is lacking, that there's a question about your competence. And that, to me, in terms of like looking at it from a law of attraction standpoint, can create more situations where you have to prove yourself. But also, like in your private life, if you have recently met somebody new and you're going in this relationship and you feel like, I have to work overtime, I have to make sure I look a certain way, always look beautiful, always look put together, and say the right things, agree with this person all the time, that is problematic as well, and that could work against you. Librans like to have people approve of them, have everything always be harmonious, and life is not like that. Sometimes people don't agree with us. Now, if somebody is constantly finding fault with you, then you know that that's probably not the right relationship in the first place. But trying too hard, I would say, is one of the obstacles that could come up based on what is occurring for your life and in your life, and what you need to kind of make sure that you don't engage in. The advice is the Queen of Pentacles, and the first thought I was going to say is fake it until you make it. Act like you're already there. Act like you are. Now, you see, the first card I got was the Queen of Wands, and that's more of a, I was going to say, an energetic thing of being very happy, enthusiastic about what you're doing, energetic. And the Queen of Pentacles is more of a practical type of energy. Now, this is associated with somebody who has a very comfortable home. But I would extend it to the workplace of a business woman. But, if you're a man, you can still embody that, because the Queen represents not only an authority figure, but the intuitive, the female principle. So realizing what is a good, using your gut to make financial decisions and to be the best leader. Also being very sensitive to the needs of others. And even though you're doing that, you can still turn a profit, and you can still be financially abundant. And the Queen of Pentacles is a card I would associate with financial abundance, success in the material realm. And also, too, by the way, if you're a career woman, I'm using gender here just because a lot of people watching this will be women. But if you are particularly a woman, having the ability to be the person in charge at the job, and then coming home and being the queen of your castle, not somebody who is self-empowered at work, and then when you come home, you're a doormat. Because if you're dealing with somebody like this could be somebody who likes control and is very black and white and very rigid, very rigid in their beliefs, and they may be very controlling. And that, I don't know who that person would be. It could even be if you're taking care of your father and he's kind of cantankerous, and you have to deal with it. But the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is a domestic goddess, but not a doormat, still royalty. The outcome is the Knight of Wands. Now, this could be somebody who, it's so funny because I do associate this with Aries. You may be dealing with somebody who is a playboy, that person. And they may be very controlling with you and try to get you to do certain things, or like be jealous of you suspicious of you, but then on their end, you can't get a hold of them when you're trying to. It may be saying this is only an affair if you've met somebody who is an Aries or has that kind of demeanor that I described, somebody who's in the military or something like that. In your professional life, the Knight of Wands is about being like bold, not playing it safe. You may, and really having the sense that all is well, that you don't have to be very, what's the word, overly cautious, that you can just like approach whatever is going on professionally like an adventure, and don't be too concerned about the future. Just live for the now moment, and there's a real fiery energy. So there's a lot of creativity flowing, a lot of juices flowing, a lot of just a joy for whatever it is that you're doing. And that, to me, whenever you're having fun in your career, you'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. That's basically what we'll say. So anyway, I think I'm going to pick an oracle card just to round off the reading. Why not, right? So for some reason, I just grabbed this one, and this is the Earth Magic deck. And it's funny because I didn't get many Earth energies, although I did get the Queen of Pentacles. Also, I just want to say, too, for the challenge card, be careful about overworking, because then you have an imbalance in your life. Oh, cool. I've never gotten this card before. What a rush, because I don't even know what this means. Milky Way, perspective. Isn't that a cool picture? Alrighty. You have lost your perspective, so it is time to step back, breathe, and allow yourself to detach in order to gather information from your senses and regain your perspective about the situation. Detachment does not mean that you no longer care. It simply indicates that you are looking at things from a different point of view. And I just kind of skipped over there. We're talking about how the Milky Way, the context between, the perspective of that and our lives. It is an outlook that is not clouded by emotions, judgment, or attachment to outcome. But instead maintains a non-reactive awareness of these things. The witness, that internal aspect of yourself that simply observes everything in your life, offers his or her eyes here. Through these lenses of pure awareness, you can examine all aspects of your experiences, physical, emotional, and mental, without denying anything. By doing so, you will come to understand a greater perspective than is typically justified by the ego, which allows you to see what is before you with clear vision and an open mind. So, based on this reading, I don't know specifically what that would entail, but or pertain to, but maybe there is some area in your life, Libra, that you have really focused on with a very subjective lens. And that's all that we can do when we are in our reactive mind. We're beings that have been conditioned, and not just necessarily in this lifetime, maybe from past lives. And so I think that Librans have that ability to detach and to look at things from a different point of view. So maybe there's a past relationship. Maybe there was a relationship at work where you rose to the occasion because you were dealing with conflict from others. and you proved your worth. The question now is, do you believe that you always have to prove yourself? Or can you just settle into your attainment? Well, that's just something to think about. Okay, so I hope you have a great October, and I wish you all the best, Libra. Bye.